Winter time is coming. I'm sure that means that you want to make sure your car is ready for the winter. So I'm here to show you. First thing you're going to want to do is make sure your tires are in good shape. The one thing that you don't want is to have a flat when it's freezing outside. And I've learned that from experience many times. There's a few things you want to check with your tires to make sure that they're good. First thing is, well, besides don't worry about the little scuffs right here. That's just my terrible parking skills. But the first thing you want to make sure is that there are no cracks. You want this to be perfectly smooth, because when the tires are cracked up, then they're more likely to lose air. I've learned that back in a time when I was very broke, and I went through the winter with all my tires were old and cracked, and throughout that one winter, every single tire got a flat in different occasions. I didn't have the money to, get them all replaced, like buy a whole new set of tires, so I had to keep going back to one of those used tire places, and they just gave me one each time it went flat. And by the end of that winter, my car had all different brand of tires. It was horrible. I had one summer tire, two all season, and one snow tire. It was terrible. Make sure that your tire pressures are also good. In the winter time, it's normal for a good set of tires to even lose 1 to 2 psi every month. So once a month, just keep checking it throughout the winter. I'm sure you already know this, but on the side of your door, there's a label here that tells you how much air should be inside your tires. So your car already tells you how much air should be inside them. So this car is 35 psi in the rear. In the front, and 36 in the rear. I hear some people say you should deflate them a little bit, which I've never done it before. I never had any problems just leaving it as with the psi that it tells you. If the last time you checked your tires pressure was during the warm weather, either in the fall or in the summer, definitely check them again before the winter comes, because once that cold weather comes, the pressure in your tires is going to drop by a lot. Now, next thing you want to make sure is the tread. Make sure you have a good amount of tread left, which you can see here that there's a pretty decent amount of tread left on these tires. So that's the first thing you have to make sure you have in check. The second thing you want to make sure that you have in check is your battery. That's another very important thing. So first is tires, second battery. The two main things that give you problems in the winter. Now, there are different types of batteries. There's the regular lead acid one that most cars have and most people use. You want to get the type of battery that's good for the winter. Before the winter starts, make sure to take your car to either AutoZone or Advanced Auto, or whichever car parts store is near you. But I just know that AutoZone and Advanced Auto, they recharge your batteries there. I think Advanced Auto does it for free. They can test your battery, make sure it's good, so you don't start the winter off with a bad battery. This is my battery. This is just the one that came from the factory. This is just a regular lead acid battery, but I'm sure this one will do just fine. Third thing that you're gonna need to make sure to check is your windshield washer fluid. Now, where I live in PA, in Northeast PA. The coldest that I've ever seen it over here was -22 Fahrenheit, and that was a few years ago. And it usually gets pretty cold. Not that cold. That was just like a one time I saw it get that cold, but it usually gets pretty cold over here. So if you happen to put the windshield fluid that's for summer, that's for 32 degrees and up, and it's mainly like for helping getting rid of bugs, before the winter comes, just use it all up, empty the tank, and fill the tank with the windshield washer fluid that goes down to -30, which you can see here. I'd say -30. You can go -20. There's some that say 0. It all depends on where you live. If it doesn't get that cold where you live, then you don't have to go -30. That's kind of overkill. Now, I do it up here. It's rare that it gets to this temperature, but it doesn't hurt to go a little overboard. Yeah, it's never given me any problems. It's just to make sure, you don't want to put, regular windshield washer fluid in there, and then your lines freeze up, and then boom, because it's gonna freeze, it's gonna burst your lines, and that's just, you're not gonna have a good time. Yeah, see, I don't have a funnel because cool guys don't use funnels, and also because I don't know where I left mine. Now, last thing, I don't think this last thing is necessary, but it wouldn't hurt to change the oil, period. You should definitely do that to take care of your motor if you want it to last, and if you care for your stuff, But yeah, if you have old oil in there, it wouldn't hurt to change the oil before the cold weather comes. One last thing I could add is your antifreeze. Now, if you're living down south, if you're living in like a warmer, climate, then I see like there's a lot of people that they just put distilled water in there. No, not regular water, distilled water. It has to be distilled water, because if you have the regular water will clog up your system because of all the minerals and stuff that's in it. If you just so happen to run distilled water and you live up north, I don't know why would you do that, but I mean, some people do, to each their own. Make sure to drain that and put regular antifreeze in there, like whatever the factory recommends. But if you don't do that, then just forget about what I just said. If you leave the regular factory antifreeze in there anyway, then as long as it's topped off, that's really all that matters. Everything else should be good. I mean, besides all the regular maintenance, like making sure your brakes are okay, make sure you're running the right type of tire. That's another thing I could mention. My car's all-wheel drive, so I run regular all-season tires, and they do just fine. This is one thing, actually, it's actually a good point. If you have either a front-wheel drive car or a rear-wheel drive car, I highly recommend snow tires, like actual snow tires for all 4 wheels, and it'll do you a world of difference, okay? Because I've done both. I've had just regular all seasons on a front-wheel drive car, and the car slid everywhere I went. I was just sliding all over the place. I barely got traction. It was a nightmare driving on snow. Definitely get snow tires if you have a front wheel or a rear wheel, especially if you have a rear wheel drive car. You're gonna be fishtailing everywhere if you don't. With all-wheel drive cars, I mean, you're pretty much gonna be unstoppable if you get snow tires in an all-wheel drive car. That thing's gonna go anywhere. That's not gonna give you, that's like the ultimate combo. But right now the tires for this car is really expensive, so I'm just gonna take my chances with the all seasons that I already have. See, like back when I had my Honda Civic, it was great. It was $100 each tire, so $400 for all 4 tires, which was wonderful. But this car, I think the last time I checked was like almost $300. I think it was like almost $300 for each tire. The rear wheels are a little wider than the fronts, so the rear wheels actually cost a little bit more. It was like a little bit over $300 per tire, which is insane. I'm gonna be crying when it's time for me to change these, or I'm gonna have to sell drugs. But all in all, if you have an all-wheel drive car, I've always like used all-season tires on my all-wheel drive cars, and I've never had any problems with them. I've never gotten stuck. Either way, thanks for watching the video. I hope this was helpful. Please like, subscribe, leave a comment down below. Tell me if I missed something, because I'm sure I did. So let me know if I missed something. If I did, just leave it down in the comments. The next video is going to be about how to store a car for the winter. So that one I will do when I'm ready to store my other car.